Hey there, welcome to District Talk. I'm your host, Chad McLaughlin. This week we have realtor and veteran David Maldonado. David, thanks for stopping by the office today.
Hi, Chad. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
I'm really excited to have you. And there's a couple reasons why. Because for starters, I love your background. I feel like we've gotten to know each other a little bit now, and I know a little bit of background, and I want our viewers and our listeners to know about you. And also, I thought it's also based on your background, which is a veteran. You are a veteran of 24 years?
U.S. Army, 24 years.
Wow, and retired with which branch?
U.S. Army.
The U.S. Army. That's amazing. So I thought today what we would do is get to know you, your background, your life as a realtor, and then also we can talk a little bit about the buying experience that veterans face today. Because there are a lot of positive attributes to veterans and their opportunities to purchase, and there's also a couple of things that we could talk about that maybe some obstacles that we have to work with and work through, I should say, to overcome. So,
thanks, Chad. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. It's exciting times.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, and I'm very happy to be here. So I look forward for the conversation.
Okay. Well, we're excited. Yeah. So, that being said, why don't you tell us a little bit about let's go back to the beginning. Because you started in school and you ended up you were in ROTC. Can you start there and just kind of how you kind of landed in the Army in the first place?
Sure. So I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. In the eastern coast, Humacao, Puerto Rico. So from there, I joined college at the end of the 90s.
Okay.
So there I started the ROTC, which is the Reserve Officer Training Corps.
Okay.
And over there, that prepared me to become a military officer in the U.S. Army. So I saw a tremendous opportunity to join the military. And with my degree, I saw an opportunity with a bachelor degree to become an officer in the Army. So I was like, what a wonderful way to start, right? As an officer, providing leadership to the younger troops. And that's what I did. So my undergraduate is in accounting and business.
Okay.
So that's how real estate get tied up to my career.
That's how you kind of led you to real estate. Is a little bit of background in the accounting.
Yes.
And
a lot of people ask me how I ended up in real estate. So I'll tell you how. Because of the business aspect with real estate, I always have that on the back of my mind. Mm-hmm. And so I joined the Army as a Medical Service Corps officer.
Okay.
Then I was a young medical platoon leader. Right after school, I was responsible for 42 lives, pretty much, to train and their families.
Wow.
So that was a big responsibility at a young age.
Yeah. Yeah,
so that was a tremendous wake-up call for a young second lieutenant in the Army. So, but it was a great experience. I had the opportunity to apply for helicopter school.
Okay.
Yeah, back in 2000, and I was selected. So I did 1 year of helicopter school, and after that, I became a medevac officer.
So you got to fly helicopters.
I did.
Pilot them.
That's right.
You were the pilot of a helicopter.
I was a pilot of the helicopter, believe it or not.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What kind of helicopters did you
I started in flight school. You go through different helicopter platforms.
Okay.
You start with a little one. It's called a Jet Ranger.
Okay.
And then you go to the combat skill phase. You go to fly in the clouds. I flew the Huey, and then the advanced helicopter was a Black Hawk. The UA-60.
So you got to fly Blackhawks?
Yep, you can see in the movies. You can see that in the movies, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I was fortunate being in the Medical Service Corps. Yeah. So I flew the helicopter with the Red Crosses.
Okay.
Basically rescuing folks in harm's way.
Yeah. So what was that like? Tell us the story about you're in the helicopter, you're rescuing your mission. I assume it's a mission, right?
Yeah,
is correct. To rescue somebody. So you are in the helicopter, you're piloting the helicopter, and what happens? You land
Yeah.
and you have. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, of course. No, that's a good question. Thank you, Chad. So it was pretty interesting. So, like I said earlier, I was a year in flight school, and right after I finished, the Army sent me to Germany.
Okay.
So that was in 2001.
Okay.
I guess everybody knows what happened in 2001 after 9/11, right?
9/11. Yes.
So everybody
Yeah.
wanted to serve our country, and I was there, and I got fortunate enough to serve my country. After that, I went and flew in Iraq, medevac missions, and so that was like another real wake up call. So our mission is to save the wounded in combat. So we get to go where when the wounded is. Sometimes it can be live fire going on, firefights. So, but the UA-60 or U.S. Army helicopter medevac is going to go and rescue the wounded no matter what.
Yeah.
So it's a dangerous job. At times we came back with bullets on the helicopters, believe it or not, on the mission because obviously the
you were
enemy
getting
had a
fired
bunch of
at.
AK-47 spraying everywhere in the air when they saw helicopters, and we went through that process. Fortunately, I made it back.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty interesting story. And
what did it feel like being in the helicopter, being shot at?
it's, honestly, sometimes you don't even notice. You don't even
Really?
notice until you get down.
To your back?
Your back, the mission is ended, and all the adrenaline is up there. You start slowing down a little bit. After you you look back, you smell smoke in the aircraft or burn patients or blood on the back of the aircraft. And then you start doing our post-flight. You're supposed to check the helicopter to make sure that all the fluids are okay, everything is intact, and then you start noticing those things.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, we have a crew, and one of the bullets stopped in the attitude indicator, saving his life. For someone that doesn't know, the helicopter, the attitude indicator is right in front of the pilot. It's help them maintain the horizon level in case you got to use it for instrument flying. So, interesting story, the bullet stopped in the attitude indicator.
Wow.
So that was God that allowed that bullet to stay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a awesome mission. They call us Dust Off. It's a name that comes from Vietnam.
Okay.
Dedicated, unhesitated service to our fighting forces. So we take that name with pride. It's an honor to do that type of mission, and honor to serve over 24 years. Just to move a little bit forward, so I went to different places, and after that I retired after 24 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
From every time you in the Army, every 3 to 4 years you move. They call it PCS. It's called a permanent change of station.
Okay.
I'm not sure you heard that term before, have you?
No, I have not. No.
PCS is a normal. Whenever you have a military client, tell them how many PCS you had in your career.
Okay.
And that way they'll know.
They'll know. I'm like
permanent change of station. Yeah.
Okay.
So it normally happens between 3 to 4 years, depending. Some people are lucky and they stay a little bit longer.
Okay.
If they like the station, people want to stay longer because the family is more stable.
Sure.
The kids have more friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a stable family there.
Yeah.
So so after 3 to 4 years, you got the opportunity to know a different state or go overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the exciting things about the military, that you get to travel. In my case, I went to Germany.
Yeah.
In Germany, I traveled Europe everywhere. So there's no borders in Germany, of course. So you get to see Eastern Europe. You get to see like Switzerland, Poland, all those states.
That's amazing.
For a very affordable rate.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, you're serving in the military.
Yeah, serving
you're
in the military.
You're putting your
Yeah. So,
which, thank you, by the way, for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
But at the same time, you get I guess one of the perks is that you get to see all these amazing places.
Yeah, correct.
And probably not so amazing places, I would guess.
Yeah, there's some other places that are not so amazing, but but it's fun. So going back to that, that ties me to real estate.
Yeah.
So when I was in the military, I always got my entrepreneurship hat because obviously I went to school. I studied accounting in a pretty good school, University of Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And it was always on the back of my head. It's like business, and real estate. At that time, I didn't have a house yet. After about 5 years serving the army, I was like,
Okay.
maybe because I was in Europe,
Okay.
couldn't for 4 years. I could, and plus I was in combat situation and this and that. So I wasn't stable.
Home wasn't on the forefront of your mind.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So we were back to we call it Mother Rocker, the home of Army Aviation.
Okay.
And back to Mother Rocker, and I saw the opportunity to buy a house, and that's when I used my BA loan.
Okay. For the first time.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
How old were you?
I was in mid-20s
Okay.
when I bought the house.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit to the right of mid-20s, but I wasn't 30 yet.
Okay. All right.
And I'm telling you, man, I don't regret. It was the best thing I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, and that home today, so you bought that home knowing that there was a chance that you could be moved
Correct.
again, because of the PCS.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got it.
because
You
of
got
PCS.
it. Good job,
Yeah,
Chad.
that's right. So no, but nevertheless, you bought a home knowing that there was a chance that you were not going to be around for very long. So what ended up happening to the house?
Believe it or not, the house today is paid off.
You still have it.
Yeah, I still have it.
That's
I still
amazing.
have the house. It's been a passive income for myself and the family.
Okay.
Yeah. So the
Passive
house,
income meaning you were able to, so you utilized it while you were
Yeah, so
home, and then once you rented it out?
once I moved out of Mother Rocker,
Mm-hmm.
I just rented the house out, and it's been a passive income for myself and the family, and
Nice.
it's been great. So interesting that I wanted to share with the audience is like nowadays there's a lot of folks that are concerned about the interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
I understand during COVID time in 2019, the government they make certain things with the Fed to allow the interest rates to go down to 3.5%, 2.5% at some points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great times. However, just for those buy homes now, when I bought the house in 2005, Chad, the interest rate was 5.75.
Okay.
Honestly, when I bought the house, I wasn't too worried about the interest rate. I wanted to purchase my first home.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even ask what's the interest rate right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe now thinking retrospectively, I think I should have been a little bit more up to speed on the interest rate. But because I was using a BA loan, I know the Veterans Affairs was going to take care of me.
Well, this was, I mean, and back then, we hadn't gone through a pandemic where rates were at one point in the 2s and 3s, right?
Correct.
So you didn't have that expectation, or there was no history of having rates that low. In fact, I think during that time frame, rates were already at historical lows, because if you look at like the rate history, 20 years ago we were in the 7s and the 8s, and then prior to that we were even higher. So kind of to your point, having a 5.75 interest rate is still an amazing, it's an amazing rate, but even, a point higher now, we're closer to 7 right now, is really, I mean, I didn't want to cut you off, but I think you're going to lead to the fact that you had this interest rate that was in the 5s, and now you own a home.
Correct. Yeah.
And now you're making income off of the home.
That's right.
Passive income.
Yeah, that's the exact point that I wanted to bring. Thank you, Chad. So at that point, I was more concerned about owning my first home. And there's a lot of military friends and family that they're a little bit worried, or they're afraid, that they're thinking that ownership of a home is not affordable, or it's not what they need to do. Mm-hmm. Maybe because of cultural reasons, maybe the parents or the family, they always been renting, and they don't see the value of having your own home. But from my own experience, I can tell you that it's been wonderful. Every time I moved through my career, if I saw that it was a good place, I bought a home.
Yeah.
Using the VA benefits.
So you've used your VA benefit more than one time.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And a
And
lot of
now
people.
you have another. And do you have other properties then?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So
Wow.
a lot of people don't realize, but you can have more than one BA loan.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
and you're the expert. You can tell us as we speak about that.
Yeah, well, they're entitlements, right? So you
Yeah.
have so much of an entitlement that you have. So depending upon how much of that entitlement that you use on your first home, you have the opportunity to purchase a second home.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Now they moved me to the awesome Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
So everybody's familiar with Savannah, right? It's very historical. That's where
Mm-hmm.
where they film the movie Forrest Gump. So you guys are
Oh,
familiar?
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, with Tom Hanks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love
The
that
water
movie.
fountain, and all
Yeah.
that good
Okay.
stuff.
All right. I never realized that.
Yeah, so that's a place. So
Okay.
if you ever go to Savannah,
Okay.
you gotta visit.
Never been.
You
I've always
gotta-
wanted to go.
It's a
but I
beautiful
wanna
place.
go.
You gotta
Yeah.
visit that fountain, man. You gotta sit on
Yeah.
that. You can sit on the bench where they filmed Forrest Gump.
Really?
You gotta go there.
That's so cool.
Take a picture, shot.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So okay, so you've used your VA loan multiple times.
Yep.
You have multiple income producing properties now.
Correct.
That you've kind of now you've since retired, and I'm assuming you've kind of landed in here in what we call the DMV, which is the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're here. And you've gone through a long career, 24 years. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That is awesome. So 24-year career in the Army, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to get into real estate.
That's right.
So how did that happen? What? I mean, did it happen after you retired, or were you getting into it before you retired? Is it the investments? Like, how did you end up wanting to get into real estate?
I would love to share that story with you, Chad, and everyone. So thereafter, as you continue growing in rank in the Army, you start getting more responsibilities. So the Army sent me I was in the house in Savannah, Fort Stewart, Georgia, with the 3rd Infantry Division. Hello to all those 3rd Infantry Division soldiers. They want to move you, right? So it was the end of my career, and this opportunity came up at the Uniform Service University. So hello to those in the Uniform Service University. Basically, what it is a Department of Defense medical school.
Okay.
It was funded after Vietnam, after this, in the mid-'70s, to try to get more physicians into the Army. There was a need of more physicians in the Army, and the Department of Defense, and they decided to open the school to offer basically free medical school for those that qualify to become doctors for the Army.
Wow.
And then after you graduate from there, you owe the Army a certain amount of years, but it's free medical school. So if you're trying to go to medical school, follow Uniform Service University. It's you're not gonna regret it. Free medical school.
That's amazing.
So while I was there, I bought my 3rd home here in Maryland.
In Maryland. Okay.
In Maryland. So I'm from Savannah. I'm like emailing my realtor. I used to work for Compass, and hey, I want to see this house, this and that. So I took leave to see the house in Montgomery County. So I came back to Montgomery County.
Okay.
That's how I came to Montgomery County. So I'm looking on the map and see what's going to be closer to Walter Reed Medical Center. It's like I'm looking at different areas. You know, I'm looking at Virginia, Tyson Ridge, and the prices was like, oh my God, in the 600,000, 700,000 for.
It's a little bit of a shock around the DC
for
area.
the similar home that I had in Savannah that I pay significantly less.
Yes.
Brand new home in Savannah.
Welcome to the DC.
So I was like, oh my God, what is this? So I was like, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
So I was ready. I know, how to handle the BA loans, of course. And I got my savings thanks to, my saving discipline that my family, my dad, my mom, taught me. And which kudos for them because it wasn't because of them, I would have been here. So they deserve it. At that realtor, I told him, hey, what do you think about real estate? He said, David, this is a great thing. It's if you really like real estate, I I recommend it, and so
Mm-hmm.
I decided to take the classes, take whatever was I had to do, took the classes and got the test,
Yeah.
and I became a
So
realtor.
almost like going through the home buying process led you into the real estate career,
Yes, can you believe that?
a career in real estate.
And it was right before COVID. On
Oh
February
yeah.
2019.
Oh yeah.
That's how talking about life and challenges, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
2019,
Yeah.
that's when I became a realtor.
Okay. So so you've been a realtor now for a little over 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Since we're talking about veterans and your own personal experience with using VA loans, what do you think? Like, has your experience in the military shaped your career as a real estate agent? Like, I would assume like maybe some disciplines or something of that nature. Like, what do you have you had any kind of correlations, I guess,
Yeah.
from real estate to your military experience?
No, that's a good question. So, I always tell people that they're inquiring about the military is that the military is like a leadership school.
Mm-hmm.
They you start with basic training where they shape you to become that soldier. They shape you to become that to get that character that you need, the discipline, getting up in the morning, making sure everything is dressed, from the shoes to the clothes to your bed, all
Yeah.
that stuff, all things that transfer throughout your career. For example, this every morning when I get up, I gotta make up my bed.
You make the bed?
I make the bed no matter what. It's just part of my
Yeah.
thing.
There's a whole book on that, if
Yeah,
I'm not
really?
mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's something that when I see that on social media, it's like, well,
Yeah.
I do that. Yeah, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that they're not really fan of the military. There's a lot of things you as an individual can learn from the military, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
So, but going back to the main thing, I think is that every time I travel and I heard that you can use the benefit of the VA loans.
Yeah.
The Veterans Affairs offers.
Mm-hmm.
I just took advantage of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Very important to get a coach in your life, a mentor that can help you. And for those that I'm available if anybody wants some mentorship of what I did throughout my career. So I'm glad to I'm glad to help anyone that needs any help. About the experience that I spent in the military and how I got here.
Yeah.
But basically, every time I move, I took those benefits from the VA loan, and that's how I acquired the properties. So that's how real estate and the military career kind of relate to each other, and the discipline and training and leadership school. I call it leadership school.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Well, let's talk
allowed me to be here.
about. So, I mean, we've brought this up several times now. The benefits of a VA loan.
Yep.
We can talk about the benefits of the VA loan.
Yeah,
Let's
that's right.
talk about that. So, and maybe that's where I come in.
No,
But I mean, there are several benefits to a VA loan.
Yeah, I know probably things change through times. Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
When I bought my first home, that's like almost 20 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can share with us like what's the latest on VA.
Sure.
That would be great.
Well, I mean, like I would say it's probably the biggest benefit is that there's no down payment, right? So you're doing 100% financing. You have some closing costs, right? So a veteran going through the process, they're going to have some closing costs, but even the closing costs are discounted. So
Oh,
myself
really?
as a lender, yeah. So we can only charge so many different particular fees. We can't exceed. There's a certain threshold that we can't exceed when we go to charge a veteran. That's why you'll see a lot of lenders offering discounts to veterans because quite frankly, we just can't charge certain fees, you know? So the VA has lots of benefits. There's no down payment. We are, as a lender, restricted on certain fees that we can charge, or we even are capped at how much we can charge a borrower.
But thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there's a lot of great benefits to that. Competitive interest rates. So you're going to get likely you should get a much better interest rate with your VA loan versus a standard conventional loan, right?
Okay.
So, you know, we're in a rate environment right now where rates are around 7%, and for conventional, and you should easily be able to find something 6.5% for a VA loan.
Oh wow,
that's
6%. That's great.
So, I mean, that's
you heard
how,
that, folks?
yeah,
6.5.
So that's how, like, yeah. So I mean, like,
Yeah,
you know, so
that's a
there's
pretty good deal.
I mean, so you're getting, you know, no down payment, competitive interest rate. There's no PMI. So PMI meaning, do you know what PMI stands for?
Yeah, what's PMI?
PMI. It's private mortgage insurance.
Oh, insurance. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
So it's that monthly mortgage payment. It's that monthly private mortgage insurance payment that you have to pay every month when you're putting less than 20% down on a standard loan. So like your conventionals and your FHAs, right? VA doesn't have that payment. So that can save folks hundreds of dollars every month on their monthly mortgage payment. So
we got to also. If I don't remember correctly, when I was doing my closing, there's always a BA funding fee.
there is, yes.
Yeah, so
there's a funding
we
fee.
don't want to forget that because we want to make sure we are transparent, right? There's a BA funding fee
That's
depending
right.
on what type of property. And
So you're exactly right. So there is a VA funding fee that the VA charges. So it's not the lender charging it.
it's BA.
It's the VA that charges that. Yeah. So the VA charges the fee. It's based on how many uses you have or how many times you've used your VA entitlement.
Okay.
Okay. So that determines how much of a fee you're going to pay.
So basically, for guys like me that use it several times, it'll be probably lower.
Actually, it's the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. The first time you use it, it's lower. And then the more you use it, it's higher.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
And then for our disabled veterans, no matter what percentage disabled they are, they don't pay a funding fee.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I heard that. Disabled veterans.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of disabled veterans whenever they retire, whether for medical reasons or not. So there's a lot out there. So if you're renting and you need any help with a BA loan, we can help. And
Yeah.
he's an expert.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and that's just a tip. I mean, that's just a tip of like why the VA benefit is so advantageous for our veterans. And deservedly so. I mean, it's, you know, so yeah, for sure. But what, like, have you, like in your career, and you've worked with lots of veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see anything outside the VA loan that differs in your experience with veterans compared to like let's say a typical standard civilian, like what a civilian would go through versus what a veteran goes through?
Yeah, I don't know. The biggest thing that I notice on the veterans is that no matter whether you're a civilian or you are a military officer or enlisted, you have to safeguard your credit. You know, the credit is very important whether you are taking a BA loan, conventional or FHA. We can talk. Maybe you can tell us later different rates that different type of loans can accept a loan. Mm-hmm. But that would be one of the things that safeguard your credit. Savings are always, you got to have your savings, you know, because you're still going to have to pay between 3 to 5% of the total value of the house to be able to close. Even you don't, and you correct me if I'm wrong on that. You're the numbers guy.
Yeah, no,
The guy
you're
with the
right.
money.
So
He's
you're
the guy
talking
with
about
the
the
money.
closing cost. Yeah, so that's the closing cost. So yeah, so even though there's no down payment,
Correct.
you're still going to have the closing cost of the house. That's
Yes.
correct.
So
yes.
and that's right there the closing table. I don't know if there's a way that they can roll over those closing costs to the loan. But I know in my case, I always during closing time, I pay the closing.
Yeah. Well, that's where we can get creative with an offer, right? So like, let's say, because we can roll in closing costs when the sellers offer closing cost assistance.
Okay.
So like, let's say we have a home for $200,000, and the seller is willing to roll in, we're willing to roll in some seller closing cost assistance. So maybe instead of 200,000, we go to 210,000, and then we provide the buyer with 10,000 in closing costs.
Okay.
So that would be one route that we could go, as far as like helping out with the down payment. Yeah.
So I know that different type of loan program they have a cap of how much how much assistance you can get from the seller. Correct.
That's correct. Yep. And fortunately, with the VA, they're a little bit more generous than a standard conventional loan. Yeah.
Okay,
So
great. That's good to know.
The other thing that we could look into doing is maybe instead of like we talked about that 6% rate, maybe we go to a 6.5% rate, and we offer the buyer some what we call lender credits. Okay, so that's another way that we can also help with some closing costs. So we can get creative with the VA financing for sure.
That's awesome, Mom. I'm just so happy that I was able to. I mean, I don't know when you follow your passion, and I served for 24 years in the military, and it felt like it was the other day, because when you do something that you really enjoy, whether it's playing music, sports, teaching, the law enforcement, you guys know, is something that you enjoy. Time will go so fast.
Yeah.
That's why my advice is to focus to take care of your health, take care of your body, because that's the only thing you have, given by God. And that will take you after your retirement in the next year, whether you're a teacher, law enforcement, a doctor, or whatever, you got to take care of you.
Yeah.
So you can continue taking care of others.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So what do you think, going from there, going back to the process of purchasing a home as a veteran, do you feel like there are any unique challenges that veterans face when purchasing a home?
On these days, as you guys know, it's a very hot market. It's a seller's market. Nationwide, we do not have a lot of inventory.
Okay.
Prices are high. Owners, they're reluctant to sell because the interest rate that they got, that they refinanced, they were at 3%. So that's one of the challenges that I see from veterans trying to find a good property for the good market value. Because the good properties out there, people are holding on to them.
Yeah.
So, but that's one thing that we can help. As for example, as a Compass agent, myself, we do have a Compass. We offer what they call private exclusive homes, where they're only in the Compass platform, and they can the public can only get access through a Compass agent. So that's how we can help the veterans to be able to get on that pool of properties. And the reason some owners don't want to put those houses on the market, sometimes there's like folks that they work for the government and they don't want people to know their address. Sometimes people that they are in the political arena, so they don't want people their house to be in the public. So we get those properties in Compass and we can offer it to our clients. So that increase the amount of properties that we have for our
that's
clients.
amazing. Yeah. So
I'm not sure if you knew that. But
so veterans would be able to take advantage. So working with a Compass agent like yourself, they would have access to basically properties that aren't even on the typical market.
Correct. They're not even on Zillow. They're not on Ref. I mean, I don't want to do any advertising for anybody, but they're not on any other platform.
They're not on any other platform, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
That's exciting. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that's a great solution to a low inventory market. I mean, because right
Yeah.
now, like you said, one of the biggest issues is low inventory.
And another challenge that I see is that, like younger folks, like the millennials, they're competing against baby boomers that they're downsizing, right? Those baby boomers, they have a lot of cash. They have because they got equity. Assuming that everything went the way the economy is, they sold different houses. They got some wealth. They got equity, and they're downsizing. So the baby boomers, they don't have a lot of cash in their pocket. Sometimes they can't compete. They can't compete, with those offering $30,000, $40,000 over the sales price. So that's another challenge that we, as myself as a veteran realtor, I can help them find a property that is suitable to their budget using a mortgage expert like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can probably tell them about the difference between working in your brokerage with any other folks, that.
Well, yeah, the biggest, yeah, for sure. I mean, thank you. Thank you for the
Yeah,
plug.
I mean, people deserve to know that.
So here's the great thing about working with a broker. We have we work with a lot of different, what we call wholesalers,
Yeah,
right?
Can you explain us like the difference between a broker and not a broker? Like
So broker for us, we're working with wholesalers. So meaning kind of like an insurance agent, where the insurance agent is looking at they're looking at all kinds of different policies for you, and then we actually are able to pick the best policy. The broker is very similar, where we're looking at 20 for district home loans. We have 27 different wholesalers.
27. Oh my God.
Meaning we're looking at 27 different interest rates, 27 different terms, when we're trying to determine the best terms for our folks. So it allows us to shop around, if you will, interest rates and loan terms for our folks. So the VA, the VA kind of puts out the rate, but then we can kind of shop it around and see where we can get the best buy for our folks.
Okay. So basically, you for every client, you try to find the best option for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and again, we're basically shopping it for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we've kind of gone through the benefits of the VA loan. We've talked a little bit about your history. We've talked about the buying process for a VA loan. And we've also talked a little bit about the current market and how that affects the veteran buyer. Is there kind of going back to just like what you just said about Compass? Is there something that, let's say I'm a veteran, right, and I want to buy a home? What should I look for in a realtor?
Basically, I can relate that to my own career. When I was buying a house, I was talking to somebody they were a little bit familiar with being a veteran, but I felt a little more comfortable when I saw somebody that I can relate, and I can tell them, hey, I'm a veteran like you and I. This is what I need. I don't want to spend over this amount of money, and this is the reasons. My monthly payment has to be this, because the Army pay me BAH, and for those that don't know, BAH means basic allowance for housing. So every enlisted or officer, we receive that monthly. Basically, is one of the benefits of being in the military.
Okay.
And that pay for your housing. So if you want to exceed that amount that the government will give you for that particular state, because it varies by state, then you're going to be paying that out of pocket. But if you tell the realtor, hey, I don't want to exceed that, and you can trust that realtor because you got a military connection with him, that realtor is not going to let you. It's not going to let you fall.
Yeah.
So that's one of the benefits.
Yeah.
Does
So
that make
it's almost
sense?
like a comfort, just a comfort in knowing that you've been through the process. You yourself are a veteran. And that's
Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that definitely does. Yeah.
Told you I got you.
Okay. So, all right. Well, David, I really appreciate you coming by today and hanging out with us.
No, I appreciate you, Chad. Thank you so much.
It's
been great. It's been a great afternoon on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Sunny weather outside.
It's
and
beautiful
I'm here
out.
with you guys and your team. And you guys been wonderful. So I really appreciate
we
it.
really appreciate you coming by. We'll have to have you come back again because I'm sure we have lots more stories that we could tell about real estate, about your real estate adventures, about veteran stories and things of that nature. War stories, which are always, amazing to hear and listen to. So, well, David, tell our folks out there watching and listening where, for starters, where are you licensed?
Yeah, no, I'm actually licensed in D.C. and Maryland, and we also service folks in Virginia. I work in a team. We're about 11 folks. The Bowers Group of Compass out of Potomac, Maryland. The team has been established over 30 years, founded by Mr. Ken Bowers. Great folks, and I see clients in DC and in DC and Maryland and Virginia.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And not just veterans though. You work with everybody.
Definitely. Yeah, I love.
You love working with veterans.
I love our veteran community, but I also love all my clients. And it's a family thing. My motto is helping friends and family.
Yeah.
So folks can find me. It's David Maldonado. I work for Compass. If you click www.compass.com, you can see. You can subscribe yourself in there. You'll be able to share properties everywhere across the United States.
Yeah.
For those folks that did not know, Compass is the #1 brokerage in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah, has been named the #1 brokerage on sales volumes.
Okay.
So it's a great place to be family oriented to.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to where I am, so I would love to help. I also got my Instagram and Facebook accounts, Maldo's Homes Real Estate. That's my name on Instagram, Maldo's Homes Real Estate. You can find me there, and you're gonna see more videos with me and Chad working together.
For sure, yeah.
But before we go, we gotta know more about you. So
what about me?
Well, I don't know if we got enough time, but how do you start real quick and then
sure. You want to know about me?
Everybody wants to know about Chad.
Yeah. Well, look, I am 19 years in the business.
19, okay.
Yeah.
You're not too far from me.
I've been in real estate, I should say, for 19 years.
Okay.
I started off on the sales side. I got licensed in Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and a few years ago, actually probably 2018, 2019, I decided, you know what, kind of hung up my sales hat, and I jumped onto the mortgage side of the business. So because it was the structure and the structure of the business, and we're a little bit more, not as evening and weekend focused as what you are.
Okay,
right?
I gotcha. Yeah.
So it just sort of worked out for my career. So 19 years in real estate, and now I'm with District Home Loans, which I love. They're a mortgage broker with, like I said, we have 27 different wholesalers that we work with. So we do everything. We do conventional, we do FHA, we do VA, of course. We do lots of VA. We get into the fun stuff then outside of those products. So we get into like what we call non-QM loans. So that's like your fix and flips, your I-10 folks, and things of that nature. So a lot of we have a lot of different options that we can offer here at District Home Loans. So
I'm sorry, I know we are running short in time, but non-QM and I-10, what is that?
Sure. So non-QM means non-qualified mortgage. So when you do like a typical conventional FHA, VA loan, that's backed by Fannie or Freddie government organizations, right? Mm-hmm. Or organizations that are
backed up by the government.
Right. So when you get into non-QM, that's when they're not, right? So that's when you're getting into a little bit more riskier territory. So, things like bridge loans, your I-10. Your I-10 loans are for our folks that are here working. They're not citizens, but they are paying taxes, and they have what's called an I-10.
Yeah, so they deserve to have home ownership.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So we do offer I-10 loan programs. We get into what's called DSCR, which is another fun product that we offer for our investors out there. So we get into a lot of unique and fun mortgage products.
That's awesome for those investors and military folks retiring that they want to invest.
Yeah.
He's the man. He can find you the right product.
Thanks. Thank you. So, all right, David. Okay, so tell us one more time where we can find you on Instagram.
Yeah, thank you, Chad. Yeah, once again, my email is very easy. It's david.maldonado@compass with 2 S's.com. Also, you can find me on Instagram, maldoshomes.com. Maldos Homes, correction, on Instagram. Or you can find me on Compass. You can actually Google David Maldonado Realtor.
Yeah.
Around DC, you can find me there. So I would love to know your feedback, and I would love to hear your comments and any questions that you may have that I can help.
Quick question about the properties that are unique to Compass that you only have access to. Reach out to you for those as well, right?
Yeah, those homes are private exclusive. So if anyone wants a little bit of more properties in the specific state or area that you're looking for, just let me know. I'll be happy to send a list of the private exclusive that we have at Compass, and also even a list of homes sold in the different neighborhood, so how much you can pay, you can afford.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And remember, just don't forget, watch your credit and do some savings.
Absolutely. All right, David. Well, I appreciate you coming by today.
Thank you, Chad. It's
absolutely.
been great.
Yes.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes, absolutely. So to our folks out there listening, we really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. David, thanks again for stopping by.
Thanks, Chad.
And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.